Did you know that foreign investors are quietly funding lawsuits in American courts through a practice called third-party litigation funding? Shadowy overseas funders are paying to sue American companies in our courts, and they don't pay a dime in U.S. taxes if there is an award or settlement. They profit tax-free from our legal system, while U.S. companies are tied up in court, and American families pay the price, to the tune of $5,000 a year. But there is a solution. A new proposal before Congress would close this loophole and ensure these foreign investors pay taxes, just like the actual plaintiffs have to. It's a common-sense move that discourages frivolous and abusive lawsuits and redirects resources back into American jobs, innovation, and growth. Only President Trump and congressional Republicans can deliver this win for America and hold these foreign investors accountable. Contact your lawmakers today and demand they take a stand to end foreign-funded litigation abuse.
Last week, we watched Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
This week, we watched Starship Troopers.
The connection is racism.
Oh.
Yeah, look, to be honest, I'm glad we've gotten racism out of the way now as a connection.
Yeah, you know what? That's good. I'm glad we can't do that again.
We could all move past racism and there'll be no more racism ever again. Welcome to Oldie but a Goodie. My name is Zach. My co-host is Sandro, and today we are signing up.
Oh, we're signing up? What are we signing up to?
We're signing up to the Force.
Oh, I don't want to do that.
To the Force, we're enlisting. We're going to go become true citizens.
I can't wait to live my best life.
Yup. Your best life as a like wheelchair-bound, like zero-limbed patriot.
Yes, that's right. My best life as a no, you pretty much got all of it out of the way. I was trying to think if there's anything else.
As a psychic ferret trainer.
Oh yeah. I'm definitely not dressed up as a famous historical bad guy.
Oh no! Oh no, Sandro! Whoa! Wrong podcast! You can't be wearing that. Oh dear.
Oh dear me. But I'm doing my part. How about you?
Oh, I'm always doing my part.
Wow.
I played so much Helldivers the other day. Like, Yes, this week we are, of course, talking about Starship Troopers.
Whoa.
The fascist, but secretly not very fascist at all, society of star-trooping citizens that are out there defending you from that bug invasion threat.
Yeah. Don't think about it.
Don't think about it too hard.
Yeah.
They gave a director famous for his criticisms of fascism and capitalism a book about those things. And it turned out interesting.
The book is right-wing, heavily so.
Yes,
so,
right? Yeah. And
he came in and went, I'm throwing all that out the window.
Yeah. Which is really interesting.
Yeah.
Because the right-leaning book isn't necessarily bad, you know?
I mean, without that book, we wouldn't have any Space Navy stuff. I mean, we probably eventually would have gotten it, but that was the first one. So.
That one's the very famous one. And so it's interesting because, like, we're on the younger side. We're on the more left-leaning side. I mean, sorry, I am. I know you're a very heavy right-winger, Sandro.
No, I'm a centrist, which means I'm alt-right.
Sorry. Yeah, my bad. I keep forgetting. Sorry, my bad.
That was a joke. Not the part about people who were centrist being right-leaning.
Oh, right,
that wasn't a joke.
That one was true. Yeah. But, like, it's very interesting because this is by the director who did RoboCop.
Yeah.
And if you watch that movie, you may have noticed that he was a little anti-capitalism.
I don't get that. That movie is just a fun movie with some gore in it. There's no message in that movie. Same with Total Recall. Nothing going on there.
Luckily, this movie was also the same, with nothing going on in it, and there was no subtle messaging whatsoever.
I don't understand, there's a big conversation online right now about Star Wars isn't political. No, it isn't. Star Wars isn't about Vietnam and how America is the bad guy. That's not at all what Star Wars is about. All these Star Wars fans are out here being like, why is Andor so political? Because they don't get it. They don't get it. And if Star Wars isn't political, then this isn't either. And so,
yeah, well, the thing is, Star Wars stole all its ideas from Dune, and Dune is just political. So it's like, it's almost impossible for Star Wars not to be.
Yes. It's like if George Lucas made Star Wars as like an analogy to Vietnam and no one got it, this movie is just being like, okay, so this is what it's about. So... it's just like explaining it to you like you're very dumb, and I loved it.
It's interesting because watching this, knowing the sort of weird backstory this movie has of it releasing, a lot of people taking it as face value, being like, this is a bit weird, and then some people being like, hey, wasn't this meant to be a satire? And everybody going, huh? Mm-hmm. And there's definitely been, like, this has a cult following for sure. Like, a lot of people are a big fan of this movie. It's really interesting to think about it in the fact that I don't think it leans heavily enough into the satire area almost.
Interesting.
It struggles. I think this movie fights a bit too hard with its base origins, the book. Because the book, I haven't read the book, to be fair.
The director also hasn't read the book, so I don't think we need to. I don't think we need to.
Right? So, like, in that aspect, I don't know exactly.
Yeah.
But it seems to be like it was fighting the source material, which took away from the message it was trying to give out, which is why it left people confused.
It definitely is, like, I don't know. I don't think it's a satire first. It is.
No.
But it also isn't. And especially when you get to, like, the last hour, which is just an action movie, it kind of loses the point a little bit, but then you get it back at the end. But, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean, is, like, I was going into this thinking I was going to watch a satire.
Yes.
And it's a satire second, which is interesting.
Definitely.
It goes ahead to produce a good action film, and I thought it was a pretty great action film. It was pretty fun. It was a lot more gory than I expected.
Oh, really? That's like what like that's what I always knew that this movie was known for.
I've watched it before.
Yeah.
I've watched it before, so I just didn't remember how just gory it was.
Yeah.
I think it's just because they're, like, specific scenes.
Oh,
and
yeah,
if you
definitely.
don't, like, remember the scenes, it's like, oh, right, yeah, there was just a lot of bodies in this scene. Damn.
Yep.
And in that aspect, I was expecting it to be a full satire and then an action movie second, and it wasn't, and that confused me. I was bamboozled.
Yeah, I think, and we will do non-spoilers and then spoilers, but I think once they get to the planet, it does flip-flop a little bit between what it is. I think for me, it definitely came back around at the very end. At the very end, I was like, okay, there we go. Now we're back. Now it's back to being a satire. There's one particular moment where people, like, cheer for something that they should not be cheering for, which was fantastic. But, yeah, I agree. I also think that, like, it's interesting because this came out in 97, so 2 years before the prequels, and it looks better than anything that the prequels ever did, which I thought was very impressive. Visually, I think it's great. The action's interesting because it's kind of the point.
Yeah.
But they're also, like, there are stakes, but there also aren't. Because they're just going up against kind of a bland bug army that are, like, the action scenes are fun.
I think bland is the wrong word, but yes.
They're very, like, it's just, like, copy and paste the same creature over and over and over again.
It's a swarm. It's a bug.
It's a swarm.
There's, like, different bugs to, like, spice things up.
It just doesn't lead to, like, the most interesting action scenes, but it also does. It depends which one. Like, there's the one where...
Yeah.
There's, like, a scene where they're getting swarmed in a base. That was over the top and stupid, and that was pretty funny. And there's, like, some random fights here and there. I don't know. I think maybe... I just don't really, like, it kind of loses me a bit because I care less when we get to, because none of these characters I really care about, really, which is the point. The point is that they're all kind of blonde, blue-eyed,
expendable,
boring, expendable characters.
Is what you would say, maybe? Like, the society that set them out there would not care for them if they lived or died. Is that what you're perhaps saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Like they were just drones in a swarm versus a drones in a swarm, maybe?
Exactly, yes.
No, I think you've got a point there where, like, the main enemy is just, like, the generic bug.
Yeah.
And there isn't much iteration on the generic bug, so it's just, like, the threat.
Yeah.
But they do like to throw a few different bugs in there to keep things interesting. And I quite liked the action of the film. I thought that was quite entertaining when it was on screen. So I'd give it props for that one.
I think it was well done. I think maybe it was a bit too long in that section. And I could have used an extra, like, 15, 20 minutes of training because that was... I really enjoyed all of that stuff.
Yeah, the training scenes were good.
Yeah. It's interesting, though, like, you go through the cast, and the main character, who is Casper Van Dien, I think, he was cast purely because he looks like an Aryan, which is hilarious.
Yeah. Well, he's got that dynamo chin, you know? He's got that, like...
Yeah.
He's got the thing, it's like, this is the guy you put on the poster sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which is a very... fascist sort of, you know, like it has a bit of an elephant in the room. There's a lot of, like, fascist propaganda that this movie makes fun of, and
yes,
but also just incorporates.
It's like the movie's making fun of it, but the movie also is just military propaganda. It's basically you're just watching a Michael Bay movie, pretty much at some point, except it's way more obvious what the movie's trying to do.
It also isn't anti enough to be anti-fascism. I think
it's pretty anti.
It's pretty anti, yeah. But it's
the
like
characters aren't anti though. I think maybe, like, the characters never.
Yeah, I think that the fact that none of the characters, because there was one character I was expecting to be anti, and then they're very pro in the end, and I was like, oh, okay.
I think that's kind of the point. I think the point is that all the characters are so brainwashed.
Yeah. And I think that maybe is why I was just a bit taken aback.
Yeah.
By this film,
which is maybe why I think people don't know that, because there's a lot of, like, I feel like every 3 years, and it happened again when Helldivers came out, every, like, 3 years, people are like, wait, hang on, is Starship Troopers not just a dumb action movie? Like, people suddenly have, like, a realization about what the movie actually is. And I think part of the reason why people don't get it is because, the characters are more than happy to go along with everything that's happening.
Yeah, right? Yeah, no one has any ideas of, like, they're in the society that they're in is not perfect and not exactly how it should be. There's not a single, like, thing. There is kind of at the start, but then, as I said, the character I thought would be anti was very pro.
Yeah.
So it in that aspect, I was surprised. And it left me a little confused.
Definitely.
Because I wasn't directly told, like, on screen, it's like, this is what you should be feeling. And then I didn't know what to feel, you know? I had to search myself to find my own feelings about the situation.
And I think, like, a lot of war movies are like that, though. I think there's definitely a few... I can't remember if Full Metal Jacket has people questioning what's going on at the end. I think they're all pretty... brainwashed. I'm trying to remember. But, like, a lot of war movies don't really have people be like, hang on a second. And
I think that's fair. I don't think many people are going, like, hang on a second, guys. Are we the baddies? Like, that sort of thing, you know?
Yeah. I liked the main guy, though. I thought he was good. It was interesting because he won the role over Mark Wahlberg and Matt Damon. They were both also considered.
Okay, yeah.
I feel like Mark Wahlberg would have been good for the wrong reason because he would not get the point. Matt Damon, That would have been interesting. I don't think I think they cast the perfect guy. I don't think they could have done.
No, he is what I imagine when I imagine this film. So I think he was definitely the perfect cast for that role.
He was good. And one other cast member to mention playing Carmen is Denise Richards, fucking Tammy from Tammy and the T-Rex herself.
Oh,
making a big old movie debut. A big old movie. She did that shit film, and now she's in this.
That's crazy. Look, would you say an improvement on boyfriend quality or not? You know?
Oh, not really.
That's rough because the other one was a robotic T-Rex, like, so...
A murderous robotic T-Rex at that as well.
Well, you could say that this one's also a murderous robotic guy.
That's right. It's a good cast, though. I liked Dina Meyer as Dizzy.
Yep, she was a great character.
Jake Busey as Ace was fun as well. Like, kind of the comedic guy, kinda.
Well, speaking of comedic, Neil Patrick Harris is in this movie.
Oh, that was hilarious. That was so funny. Because he was like, slight spoilers here. He was like, I've been on a kids' TV show for my whole career. How can I break out from that? How about I play a Nazi?
Yeah, whoa.
Just fantastic. I liked Clancy Brown as well as the sergeant, Mr. Krabs himself from SpongeBob.
Ah, there you go.
That was
I didn't know
fun.
that.
Yeah, he was good. That's like, it's a good cast. A lot of people criticized this at the time for being really, like, the cast was kind of bad. And I'm like, no, I think they're all doing exactly what they're meant to do.
The guy who plays Gene Rizak is named Michael Ironside.
Yeah.
Which is a sick name. Guy had a better name than his character for his character, which is crazy. Like, Ironside is a sick last name.
A funny part about him, he's in a bunch of things. He's in Total Recall as well. But a funny thing about him is that his name is Michael Ironside. And in a bunch of animated DC movies, he plays Darkseid. I think it's pretty funny. Michael Ironside is Darkseid. Very funny.
Yeah, and Patrick Muldoon was really good.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. No, it's good. It's good cast. And yeah, like, it's the guy who did... Do you find... Because RoboCop is the same. It keeps cutting to, like, propaganda ads. Do you think that the director Paul Verhoeven should stop doing that? Or do you think it ties all his movies together?
No, I think it's good. Like, I think the thing is, like, RoboCop had a very clear message.
Yeah.
And I think he worked perfectly with that one, and it's an amazing film. Whereas this one, he's fighting the message in a way, and I think that detracts from the film. Not that this film was bad. I still very much enjoyed this film. I think it's just, if it had had one coherent message, it would have been better. But it's like, it was two different ideologies, and I don't think either one's, like, should be criticized as bad. I just think there were two different ideologies and that they were fighting each other in that way. You know what I mean? Yeah,
it's interesting because this is written by the same guy who did RoboCop, who wrote this not as an adaptation at first. It was its own thing called Bug Hunt at Outpost 7, which was, meant to be like a dark comedy making fun of propaganda war movies.
Yeah.
And then no studio wanted to do it. So he was like, damn, everyone's saying it's like Starship Troopers. So what if I just make it closer to that and then we'll make an adaptation? And then people were like, hell yeah, we'll do this. Yeah. And then, so it is basically two movies. Yeah.
Which is really interesting, yeah. And I haven't read the book. I'd say I'd need to do that, but I'll never do that.
No, I'm never going to read that book.
With my millennial brain?
Exactly.
Absolutely not.
Reading a book from the 50s? Snore, thank you.
Yeah. But, I think it's interesting that it had that juxtaposition, and if you had read the book going into this film, you would have been, you might have been disappointed, you might have been confused, it's like, it's a shame that it had that conflict, because I think if you had the separate movies, they could have been both better on their own, you know what I mean?
Imagine being such a big fan of the book and then going to see this. It's a completely different side of the political spectrum. The book is like right-wing pro-military, and then you watch this and it's like, fuck you, actually.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Is like, yeah. And I think there were quite a few people who had and were like a bit disappointed in this film for those reasons, you know?
It did fairly well.
I don't necessarily think that's bad. You know, you could like something and then be disappointed when the thing you like is adapted into something else, you know?
That's true.
I think that's a very fair reaction.
I agree. It's like, I'm trying to think of a comparison. It's like a James Bond movie that is James Bond shows up. It's just Archer. It's just making fun of how shit he is.
Yeah,
like,
right?
It's something like that. I don't know. But yeah, this movie did fairly well when it came out. Like, this movie was very expensive. It was like $100 million, which, I mean, nowadays that's like a fucking Avengers movie.
Yeah, I mean, it looked amazing.
Yeah.
It looked incredible. Even like, specifically, there's a scene, I don't want to spoil anything, obviously, but like, there's a scene where a ship's like having trouble.
Oh, yeah.
And you see like some of the electronics in space, and it's got this like blue fire effect, and I was like, whoa, that actually looks sick.
Yeah.
Star Wars, fuck off. This thing looks great, you know?
Yeah, that's right.
Although it did have an explosion in it at some point that did look like the Death Star exploding, and I giggled.
That's true, actually.
All space explosions look the same, is what I'm saying, you know?
Yeah, no. I think, yeah, like, the visual effects were great. A lot of the action scenes were like quite long, and were just great as well. The soundtrack was good as well. The soundtrack was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. The soundtrack's amazing in this film. I think it's perfect. It's really good. And as someone who has played Helldivers before,
oh yeah,
I was like, the influence is pretty obvious, you know.
Well, so I haven't played Helldivers. I know a lot of people who have, and I extremely doubt that they get the point, because they're like, I love first-person shooters, and I'm like, you're not the target demographic for Helldivers, then.
I think it is, though. No. Here's the thing. That's the thing that made me confused watching this movie. In Helldive, it's even more apparent that it's satire.
Okay.
It's very like they go even further heavy-handed in that aspect, and
I don't know. I feel like these people could play Spec Ops: The Line and still think that war's good. So I don't know if the people that
there's definitely a crossover. There's a blend.
Yeah,
but I feel like in Helldivers it's more heavy-handed and therefore more obvious that it's satire.
Yeah, okay.
Where and people, made jokes about it. Where in this, it's a little less, which confused. That's why I came into it, and I was a bit like, oh, okay,
yeah.
It's a little more pro-military than Helldivers, you know.
That's very interesting. Okay,
less pro-military. Yeah, it's a weird juxtaposition there.
Okay, that is very interesting. Okay, that makes a lot of sense, though, I think. Because like from what I've seen of that game is, it's obviously heavily inspired by this, but I didn't know if it was like more obviously satire or less.
The Earth is called Super Earth.
That's pretty funny.
It's like very, I don't know. It gives off a vibe. I think you're right. There's a lot of people who are just in it to shoot some bugs, and you know what?
Yeah,
that's okay. But like,
they're part of the joke, so it's great.
Like, the community is like, it has a lot of lore behind it. Like, there's things where these aliens are attacking, but there's like, you can find outposts with like dead scientists that have like notes of like, hey, we were experimenting on the bugs, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's in the game. Like, it's very, like, if you look at the surface, it's very, Starship Troopers sort of thing. But then you look underneath it, it's like, oh, actually, there's a lot of bullshit going on that Super Earth is covering up. And like, the developers are leaning in heavily to the idea of there's a lot of like, you could tell that Super Earth's super shady.
yeah. Hell yeah.
Which is cool.
Right. Let's go spoilers. You gonna give this a thumb up or a thumb down or an award, or what's your vibe here?
I look, as someone who's very anti-military, I'm very anti-war, which not everyone would agree with.
Well, I'm anti-war, but I'm pro-military, so I don't...
Interesting. Yeah.
That was
you
a
like
joke
to have
as well.
No. I see where you're coming from. You like to have a large standing military for the economic benefits, you know?
Sure, yes.
It's the big stick that you don't use, you know, to make sure everyone stays in line. I understand, Sandro.
No, I use it all the time. I just don't like using it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fair. I'm going to rate this one a goodie.
Yeah.
I'm going to rate this one a goodie. I don't think it's like RoboCop good.
Yeah.
But I think I think RoboCop's a better film in its like ideology aspect, but I really enjoyed this film. I thought it was awesome. The action's great. The subtlety when it's there is really good. And I like seeing them murder some bugs. Only good bugs, dead bug.
Oh, that's rude. I agree. I think it's a goodie as well. I don't think it's as good as RoboCop. I need to rewatch Total Recall because I think I want to see how.
I think that's a fair.
All of because the director he basically he just made 3 movies that make fun of American action movies, which is RoboCop, Total Recall, and this. Everything else he made is not a crowd-pleasing action movies. So
yeah.
But he has this trilogy of movies that are just making fun of American movies, which is fantastic. I think this one's probably the worst of the 3, but it's still very good. I had a lot of fun with it. I think it's fun. I'm gonna give it a goodie as well. How about that? 2 goodies. Starship Gooders. No.
Yes. And I'm talking a lot of trying to argue the sides because I think that bit of it's interesting. But I think once we get into the film, I'm just gonna be this film was fun. I enjoyed this bit. I enjoyed this bit. You know,
we'll definitely get a lot into the lore as well.
Yeah,
which is
the lore.
But before we get into that, let's do some taglines. See what you think of these.
All right, I'm probably gonna be pro all of these because it's just gonna be propaganda. I hope.
The only good bug is a dead bug.
Thumbs up!
Yep.
Hell yeah!
Yep.
Only good bug's dead bug. That's
pretty
right. Hoorah!
Mankind just became an endangered species.
We're a tough bunch. We don't die that easy. Thumbs down.
Thumbs down.
You can't take. Yeah. We ain't no extinct bugs. You know.
Forget the insecticide. Bring on the nukes.
Yeah! Hoorah! Thumbs up.
I like that one. You can't step on these ones.
Oh, that's true. You got to bring out the big guns.
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
That one's good. Genocide doesn't compare to this.
Whoa, that's rough. That's crazy. I mean, they're bugs, though, so I don't know. I'll give that one a shaky middle thumb, you know? Because it's bugs, it doesn't count.
There's so many here. The paratroopers of the future are here, and their enemies aren't human.
That's true. They are bugs. That's a rough one. I'm going to give that one a thumbs down. Bit long.
I think that's all. There's so many here, but most of them are pretty
Keep
boring.
going.
They came to our planet. They destroyed our cities. But on November 9th, they'll learn they messed with the wrong species.
Hoorah! Thumbs up, but also it was very long. But thumbs up! Hoorah!
Dear. What a weird bunch of taglines. I don't know, that genocide one, that's a
that was a bit rough. That was a bit rough. But But this movie's perfect for taglines because it's literally military propaganda. So yeah, it's good stuff.
Well, howdy there. I'm an American, but how did I come to be? Well, I was born in America. That's my origin story, but not everyone's origin story is that simple. And that's what the boys are exploring right now over at patreon.com/OldieBuddyGoodiePod, where they're reviewing X-Men Origins Wolverine, and they have some hot takes about it. The hottest take being that they didn't hate it, and I'm very confused because I like comic books and that makes me angry. Anyway, to get you angry, here's a clip. Also, Emma Frost is in this, which doesn't add up to... because she's in first class and she's an adult then.
Well, it could be a different mutant that turns to diamonds when they want to. I would say maybe when we get to Futures Past, it might be that is a different reality in that time, so Emma Frost could have been a different person. Yeah, right?
Maybe. Who knows, really? And the thing with the X-Men movies is the only canon that matters is the previous one.
Correct.
It's not the canon of the franchise matters. It's do you remember what happened in the last one? Yes, that's all you need to remember.
Yeah.
And even then, it's not going to add up. Well, that sure sounds like a fun time. And you can go get that fun time at patreon.com/OldieBuddyGoodiePod, where you can get all the X-Men bonus episodes for money. I was going to say for free, but you can't do that. But what you can get for free is voting on the episodes that the boys are doing here on the main show. That's fun. Happening for another month and a half. Patreon.com/OldieBuddyGoodiePod. Also get ad-free episodes if you want as well. But yeah, X-Men Origins. That's a movie. I've run out of things to say, and there's a couple more seconds left of the... There it is. The ad's done. Patreon.com/OldieBuddyGoodiePod. I'm an American still, though. Yeehaw. Okay, let's do some spoilers then. Watch out. Gonna spoil the movie.
Spoilers! Watch out. Hope you're not a bug, because you're about to die.
Do you want to get into the backstory here? The backstory that I picked up on. The reason why everything's happening is because of those gosh darn Mormons. Those fucking Mormons.
Whoa! Do explain. Do elaborate.
There's a line in this, and I looked it up after watching as well, just to, like, see if my interpretation, like, other people also thought this. There's a part with these so-called Mormon extremists decided to make a base on the other side of the galaxy, and then a bunch of bugs killed them. And then that started the war, is what this backstory that we have.
Yep. That's it.
Which is very funny. I find Mormon extremists... There was a Doctor Who episode recently where they basically did that as well. There's like these like religious extremists out in space.
Yeah, but also it's not like their fault. It's just the like the straw that broke the camel's back sort of thing. It's like that this is the excuse that we're going to use.
Oh,
like
yeah.
they were going to find an excuse at any point, right?
Yeah.
And this is just, the excuse.
Wait, hang on a second. This movie, what? Hang on. Are you telling me that the humans just wanted to colonize this planet? Is that what you're telling me this movie's about?
Yep.
Oh my goodness. I didn't get that at all from the movie.
I'm just saying this, and this, you might be shocked at this. I'm just saying this military society that had an economy based on military needed an enemy so that they could use their military on it.
Oh my goodness.
And they would find literally any excuse to then fight said enemy so that they can keep their entire civilization running because you need an enemy.
Do you think that they sent the asteroid to Earth and not the bugs?
That is something I was wondering the entire time. Yes,
Yeah.
It's never explored, and it's really interesting because it's like they just say the meteor was sent from the bug zone.
Yes,
and so it's not clear whether it's heavily implied that the bugs launched it.
Yeah,
but it's like why and how. It's like none of those that come up, and it doesn't make any sense, right?
No.
It doesn't make any sense for the bugs. So it leads me to think, if you think about it, it's like, well, then what happened? And it's like,
yeah.
Obviously, my thought was like, oh, obviously the humans did it so that they could antagonize themselves and be, because that's a classic thing. But it has, there's no clues or anything for that.
There's nothing. Well, because we have Denise Richards at that point is out on her ship, and so she sees it coming, and then we get that pretty solid action scene where they have to try and avoid it. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it just kind of comes out of nowhere. So I think it's possible either way. I think that it's probably it makes more sense that the humans did it because the bugs don't have a reason to. They don't have a reason to send an asteroid. Or
alternatively, it's literally just an asteroid that was headed out in space. And
maybe, that's also true.
Which would be crazy. That would suck for the bugs.
I feel like they would have been able to stop the asteroid, though. I feel like the Earth would have been able to stop it. And the fact that it didn't get stopped means that it's probably that.
Whoa, what if that could be it, where it's like, it was just a random asteroid headed to Earth, and the leaders were like, you know what, let's let it hit. Because that also sounds like something that could happen.
Yeah. So that was fun. I liked yeah. So the movie opens with like a bunch of fake ads and stuff. We get the news broadcast. Sorry.
What do you mean fake? These are as real as it gets, Sandro.
Because it's a movie, Zach. It's a movie, so it's all fake.
Oh,
it's
right.
It's not real. Yeah. Nothing in this represents...
you confused me there. Yeah. Oof.
Yeah.
You were sounding like you were anti-patriots there, and that, we were going to have some issues there.
We get like the found footage, like news camera reel of the attack that happens later in the movie, which is great. I really liked all
that was cool.
Stuff.
I wasn't expecting that. That was cool. It has like a 1 year earlier sort of cutaway from this like horrific war footage, which was quite funny.
There's also the classic like I'm doing my part joke, and then the kids like
I'm doing my part,
which is very funny. A classic
it's
joke.
great. It's awesome. It's very good.
It's interesting as well how all of the propaganda ads end with "Would you like to know more?"
Yeah.
I'm like, interesting. What's that about? What's that trying to say? I don't know.
Well, it has like a computer screen where you're like going over and clicking on different things.
Yeah.
So it's and it's shown that everybody like interacts with the computers and other things. I think that says a lot about today's society. First off, but
phones are bad.
Yeah. But second off, I think it's definitely like maybe every time you used a computer like for luxury purposes, like non-military things, like you would have to watch an ad first.
Yeah, you're right.
Which would be one of these, like, that makes sense. And then it's like, would you like to know more? And then you could go and click off and find out whatever you know, do your job or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
That's what it's implying, almost.
I thought it was also trying to say the fact that, like, no one ever clicks on wanting to know more. I think that was also the fact is, like, people are like, wow, look at that headline. Oh, wow, look at that one.
But it's like, it's also like a showing, hey, this is what is shoveled down their throats 24/7. Like, you know, this is the constant propaganda that they're exposed to. Yeah.
Exactly. Anyway, yeah.
I thought it was cool.
It's good stuff. We can go through the plot, I guess, but it's pretty straightforward.
We got Jean-Claude Van Damme. Johnny Rico, our main character.
Great name. 10 out of 10 name.
Yeah. It had to be a Johnny, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
And he is a space jock. He's a jock. He plays football.
Yep.
Which is very funny. He even has beef with another guy. It was funny because I was talking with my friends before, and I called this movie a romance movie, and it is.
It is.
This is my favorite romance.
It was meant to be more so a romance movie as well. Yeah.
Oh, really? What? Why?
It was meant to be a rom-com set against. Like, it was meant to be like a war propaganda parody part, like, teenage rom-com.
Oh, that's funny. I mean,
script.
It does have that.
Yeah.
It does have a weird love triangle, which was going on. Because you have Rico and his girl.
Carmen.
Yeah, but also Dizzy, like, it's something in this film. It's like, is this whole film like produced by the fascist society to distribute to everyone else?
Yes, I think so. Based on the ending, I think so, yeah.
Right, yeah, it makes sense in that aspect. It's like obvious. I would think so. But it's just interesting in that aspect that it also like hints at the fact that, you know, society isn't as good, but this is a propaganda movie. Anyway, Dizzy likes Rico. Rico does not like Dizzy.
No, until he does. But
until he does. Until he settles. I said no. He like until he gets broken up with by Carmen, and so he's like, "Well, I guess I'll bang Dizzy then." And then she fucking dies, and he's like, "Well, I guess I'll go back to Carmen then."
Yeah.
Which is pretty fucked up.
And there's also the other romantic rival, which is Xander, who's older space jock man. He's on the opposite sports team.
Yeah. Like literally, because he's infantry and he's a fly guy, and it's like, oh, they have this rival things. And honestly, I shipped him and Carmen until he died by brain suck.
He does die
and I'm
by
like,
brain
well,
suck.
that solves that problem, I guess.
Exactly.
That's the weird thing about this like love triangle is it's like it could have gone in so many different directions, but then everyone else died. So it's like, oh, I guess I thought we were gonna have a like Xander and Dizzy get together at the end, right?
That would have been so yeah, no, definitely.
Or like, you know, something like that. Like I think that could have been interesting, you know, where it's like, yeah, we were our lovers with these two, but they died. So I guess, you know, we're going to get with each other. You know, there could have been that sort of thing, which could have been interesting. But nope, the two main characters who we follow through the film, they get together at the end because they didn't die.
That's right. Oh, it's interesting as well. One of the lore thing that I wrote down was, and they mentioned this throughout the movie, that during World War II, Hiroshima was completely destroyed.
Yeah.
Which is, like, maybe the turning point of this universe was that Japan's gone completely.
Oh, yeah,
Rather than, like, it's kind of gone, it's completely gone. It's like what I got.
They like, leaned into it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they do mention that, and it was a little fucked up. I was like, whoa, that's kind of crazy.
And it's like, the start of the movie also takes place in Rio, which is an American state now, based off the movie. It's implied that all of the whole world is American now.
Yes, so I think it's definitely saying, hey, there was like a American fascist takeover at one point.
Exactly.
And America just leaned into the nukes and was like, hey, we've got these nukes, we could just take over everyone now.
Which is very like, I mean, obviously this whole movie is trying to make fun of Star Trek a little bit here and there, definitely at the start as well.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's like an interesting Starfleet sort of situation.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't really think about that. Yeah, and it's interesting in that aspect of like America just taking over everything with this fascist society and then turning it into this is like an interesting alt history, sort of thing that they imply it.
Definitely. Anyway, they join the army. You've got Carmen's a pilot. Johnny and Dizzy go to infantry. That great scene where it's like, infantry made me the man I am today, and it's a guy with he's missing 3 limbs.
Right? Yeah. And so that guy with 3 limbs missing is like one of the like few things that they throw in there, which I was expecting a bit more of. That like subtle but not subtle like hint to, hey, like if you go to the military, it's not going to be fun, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Right? Gene Razek,
the teacher.
I'm just going to call Ironside. Yeah. Ironside's like, hey, you've read the text or other things, but what does it mean to you? Like, he's trying to... It felt like in that scene, you know, he's trying to imply that you should try and think outside the box that has been enclosed around you by society, sort of thing. There's, like, some subtle things like that where he says, like, you know, the exact words of the text.
Exactly.
And so it's like, you know, that's a great line because it also implies the text exists, which is like the rules of society or whatever it must be, you know, that sort of thing. But he's trying to teach them to think outside that. But then later on in the film, you just see him and he's just a general again. And he's still very pro, like, war and all that, which is, you know, I thought he would be more anti-war, you know?
I agree. I was expecting someone else in the war section of the movie to be anti as well. I was expecting like at least one person, and if anyone, it makes the most sense that it's him, but they never really do that. So
yeah, like it was interesting. It was strange that he came back and he's just like that, and I was like, oh, okay. It sort of lost the scene at the start of the movie sort of lost some of its glimmer at that point for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, Neil Patrick Harris is there. He has psychic powers.
Oh, yeah.
He can, like, you know, implant memory, like, ideas in people's minds.
It's an interesting point that it matters a little bit at the end, but it doesn't really matter. It's just kind of thrown in there.
Yeah.
For, again, like, the World War II kind of, like, we're experimenting sort of thing.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting because it has, just a couple of plot points. Like, One, they like recruit him for intelligence.
Yep.
So he goes off to become like commanders and all that sort of thing for other things. So it's implying that like all the commanders have like these psychic powers, which helps them in the war effort in that aspect.
Yeah.
But also the like at the end there where they've got the alien captured as well, and he can like psychically communicate to like read its mind and all that sort of thing is interesting.
Yes.
It's never delved into in this movie, but it's interesting. And obviously, yeah, there's that plot point later.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so they've got one infantry of the thruple of Neil Patrick Harris, Denise and Casper.
Yeah.
One goes to infantry, one goes to spaceship flying, whatever that one's called.
Yeah.
Navy, and then one goes to intelligence. And we see the perspectives of the infantry and the Navy sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
But we never really see the intelligence portion.
I think it would be way too dark if we did.
Yeah. No, but I just thought it was interesting because we only got to see those two perspectives very heavily.
That is interesting. Yeah.
It was interesting, but they only show like some clips from him, you know?
Yeah.
And then he comes back at the end. I was wondering if that's like leading into this was a military video that like was made.
Maybe.
And they couldn't show any of the intelligence thing, right?
Well, I mean, he's shown to be psychopath is the wrong word, but his morals are fast and loose.
Yeah.
As soon as he joins them, we see like he shows you how to kill a bug, and it's fucked up. He makes and then like he talks about how it's like, I'm sorry that I had to send you to my death, but I had to. So
yeah. It's very cold, like psychopathic, but not quite. It's like the needs of the few outweigh the many. Like there's a weird like cold calculation. He takes the humanity out of it, where it's like, yeah, to kill the bugs, don't aim at any of the limbs, aim for the, nervous system, that sort of thing, It's like, we set these troops in to bait out the bugs to see, like we set their troops to their death for this reason sort of thing, which is really like cold and calculating. That's like sort of brushed over and they just move on. But it was like, oh, that was a really, fucked up bit of warfare right there, you know? They like literally sacrificed people.
And then everything at the end as well with him was also, a lot, which was good. And then it just turns into Full Metal Jacket for like 40 minutes where with all the training, that was all great. You got Mr. Krabs teaching them how to be soldiers, and some people are good, some are bad. There's that great scene where they Rico he becomes like the general in a simulated assault and then ends up getting someone's head blown off. That was great.
Yeah. And there's this whole thing of there was like, well, is he going to leave the military now, because there's this accident that happens in training where someone dies and there's this big hoo-ha in the military sort of thing. But then the meteor hits.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, nope, back to military. Everyone's back on board.
And all his parents are dead, and everyone that he knows is dead, basically.
Dean Norris is in this scene as well, which is like, he's one of the commanding officers. That they
from
talk
Breaking
to.
Bad, yeah.
Yeah. Which was a bit of a like, oh, I recognize that guy. Huh. That's funny.
I had no idea that he was in this. He's in like a bunch of movies from the 90s that...
Yeah.
I'm always like, what? What are you doing?
Yeah, he's pretty good, but like he only has like 2 scenes of this, which is quite funny to me.
Yeah, he's great in everything. He's never aged, that man. He's looked the same.
Yeah.
For so long. Yeah, the meteor hits and then they're off to war. They're immediately off to war. So off they go. It's wartime. And they fight a bunch of bugs. There's a lot of bug fighting. We see the regular bugs. We see the big old ones that shoot the bombs that they nuke. That was pretty cool. The design of the bugs is great. It's kind of like Tremors. It's like Star Wars Tremors.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, if Star Wars and Tremors combined, absolutely. I think that's great. We see a bit of the like ships in action because we have Carmen out in space where they encounter the meteor and all that sort of thing. Brenda Strong plays the captain of that ship.
Oh, yeah.
Commander Delander. And once again, Brenda Strong is like a better name than the character's name. I'm just saying, like, damn, I would follow her into war, you know? It's like,
yeah.
there's some great names.
Oh, she's in Star Trek. I don't know which, in Next Gen. I'm not sure. It must be like random episodes or something. She might not be a regular, but yeah.
She's a great actress. She's in, she's in a few different things. She's in, like, Spaceballs as well, I think.
Oh, really? Oh, that's very funny.
Yeah. Like, she's done some sci-fi stuff. It's just, she's a great actor.
Yeah. So, yeah, I like that as well. I like that character of, like, the captain who's... We don't really... I feel like she's not 100% in on this. I think she's, like, one of those characters who I'm like, I can see her questioning everything just based on the movie. Yeah. I liked that.
I liked the, like, de-docking scene where everyone's really nervous because they got this, like, fly girl to be their new pilot, and it's, like, her first thing, and she's, like, taking very unnecessary risks.
Yeah.
Which no one's a big fan of, which was quite funny.
But the bug attack goes pretty poorly. Rico is stabbed and supposedly killed. In fact, he is so dead that the military say he's dead, which never comes back.
Yeah.
That part never... And we don't know why they did that. I don't know if it's just a blanket statement that they put out being like, well, everyone's dead. Or if it's more calculated than that to, like, give people something to fight for.
Yeah.
To be like, look at this huge number, and that one person you know is dead, so you gotta go get revenge for them.
Yeah, I think it's definitely... There's something there that's sort of brushed over, but it's like, either it's incompetence, you know?
Yeah.
Like, well, not so much incompetence, but like an error. Because I think that happened a lot in World War I and World War II, where there was, like, errors and other things where people were said dead, but they weren't actually.
Definitely,
sort of thing.
yeah,
I think that definitely happened a lot. But also, it could be implied that they came up with the list of the dead before they sent them down.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. So it's like, because they knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, they knew that this was a suicide mission, so potentially.
Yeah, exactly, right? But it's a good point that they sort of just brush over that without any more thought to it. Yeah, it's interesting.
I liked as well, we get, like, that one news show. It's like a talk show where this scientist is on being like, the way that those bugs fought back, it's almost like they can think. And this one guy
What are you talking about, you crazy person? Bugs thinking? The thought makes me sick.
It's so funny. I was like, oh, that's the world we live in right now. Is that so? That's great.
Yeah. That was very funny.
I loved that. But yeah, they think that there might be a thinking bug out there, and so they got a new mission. A
thinking bug?
A thinking bug. So they have a new mission, which is you gotta find the thinking bug. We gotta find it.
The thinking bug?
Yeah.
But how would they find a thinking bug without sending a whole bunch of troops to die in a suicide mission?
Well, they sent a whole bunch of troops to die in a suicide mission.
Whoa, no! Yeah, so we follow Johnny as he's in his new squad with the Commander Ironside.
Oh yeah, he's alive. He was in a Bacta tank. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, literally in a Bacta tank. Yeah, he's not dead.
Yeah.
And so they join up with a new squad after the first attack on the aliens failed.
Yeah.
And they go to this planet and to check out this, like, base.
Yeah, where all the Mormons died. The Mormon base.
Yeah, where all the Mormon base.
I think it was the same place, or it just looked the same. I think it was the same place.
I think it was just like a military outpost.
Yeah, okay.
Because there's the commander guy there that they encounter.
Yeah. That was fun.
Yeah. And it's interesting because they have this thing, the aliens can suck your brains out to get the information from your brain.
Yeah, to learn about what you know, I guess, and, like, learn human strategies and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, to just literally get info on what you're planning and what you're doing, which makes sense. But it's like, that is a weird power for the aliens to have.
For sure.
And so the commander guy's like, yeah, I hid away because I've got all the information and they suck your brains out, man. We're all gonna die.
That was fun.
He was great.
Yeah. I liked we get a new sort of bug in that scene as well, the one that sprays orange acid. That was horrifying.
The fire acid. Yeah. We get the like bomber beetles. So it's interesting because Johnny manages to like jump on one's back.
Yeah.
And he like shoots a hole in it, throws a grenade. It's very hoorah, you know.
It looked like he jumped into a pumpkin. I was like,
yeah,
ew.
oh, that's true. Yeah. They probably use like pumpkin juice or something
Most
for
likely.
it. Yeah.
Also, why is its blood a different color? That's something I found interesting. Was all the other bugs are green, but that one's like orange.
I think the orange is the goo for the big lasers that they shoot. You know, maybe it's fuel. You know,
Yeah.
It's not necessarily its blood. It was something else that it was combining to create those big giant like laser bolts that they were shooting into space.
Yeah. That's for sure.
Yeah, there's definitely some like alien anatomy that needs to be got into. Again, we didn't see much from intelligence. If we had saw more from intelligence, we might have learned a bit more. But maybe they don't want to show us the intelligence that they're getting.
That's right.
Because that might imply that they're the bad guys.
Exactly. They did a really good job of like subtly implying that the bugs are scared as well. Like even in that first attack, the way that they're acting, I'm like, they're not like they have the strategy, sure, but they act kind of scared and like skittish at the start, and then that, you know, obviously is way more prevalent at the end of the movie. But it was interesting that was all kind of all throughout the film. I thought was good. But yeah, anyway, they go to the base and they have to fight. It's basically just like a Lord of the Rings action scene, except with a bunch of bugs.
Yeah. It's Helm's Deep, but bugs.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's some other interesting bugs. There's like some flying bugs, which are pretty cool.
That was very Tremors, the flying ones.
Yeah. The flying ones. And then like one just crashes into the like commander dude and kills him.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of things. There's burying. There's so it's shown that like how they got into the base was they dug up from underneath them. And that's how Ironside dies, is they bury underneath him. And he's earlier on in the film, he like shoots a guy, like a soldier, because the soldier got captured.
Yep.
And he's like, hey, you would all do the same for me, I hope, you know?
Yeah.
And then he gets captured, so he's like, please just kill me. Just shoot me. And so he's dead.
Yeah, he's dead.
And I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that.
And I think this is the part where Dizzy dies, which we should mention as well. There's a pretty funny sex scene with her and Rico where like they're in the middle or they're just about to start or whatever, and the sergeant comes in and is like, gotta get your ship packed, we're gonna leave in 10 minutes. Wait, who's that in the bed with you? And it's like, it's me. And he's like, all right, I'll give you 20 minutes.
No, it's like, sorry, we're leaving in 20 minutes. And it's like, bounce, wow.
It was very funny. It was like this brief moment of like genuine comedy, not like satirical comedy. It was just a good joke. And I was like, oh, we haven't had that in the movie.
Hey, look, Ironside ordered them to have fun, and they're having fun. He also is like, hey, Casper. Hey, Casper, don't turn down a good thing, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's like, go fuck. Which is funny.
So they extract out of the Mormon base. Dizzy's dead. Everyone's dead, pretty much. Everyone's dead.
Yeah.
Again. And so they go back to the spaceship, and Neil Patrick Harris is there, and he's like, yeah, I knew that you'd all die. Sorry. Lol. My bad.
Yeah. And like they brush over that later, but I would have been, you know, the Casper's like pretty cool with the whole like they got sacrificed essentially.
Yeah. And then it's like, all right, here's the new plan. We got to go capture the brain bug. There's a big old brain bug, and I think I know where it is because I got psychic powers. So we're gonna go find the brain bug.
Yeah.
And so that's what they do. They go and find the brain bug. Denise Richards accidentally crashes her jet in the area because I think she's on a ship. Everything's going wrong, and so she's got to escape.
Yeah, the ships are getting shot down, and that's where we get like one of the we had this in the first invasion, but like the bugs have pretty good anti-spaceship guns.
Yes.
Which in the first scene, it's implied that the commanders were just not told about it, and And so a lot of them, the spaceships died. But in this scene, their ship gets hit. And we see at one point the whole ship gets like split in half.
Yeah.
And then there's like this blue flame and other things. I thought that looked really good. Like some of the space scenes were real sick.
Again, it's like the Star Wars prequels have their moments, but this consistently looked incredible for the time it came out in. I was like, what? Like, I think it's because it's like very practical as well.
Yeah. They used a lot of practical effects, especially when they're like, it was very, as you say, Star Trek sort of thing. Like when they're in the ship, it's all practical effects, and then they have the outside sort of like CGI-ish that blends into it. I thought it was quite good.
I agree. I thought it was great. Yeah, the space combat was a lot of fun.
And then Carmen and Xander both escape on an escape pod that crashes into the bug nest.
Oh my god, they're in the bug nest and they're surrounded by the bugs, but the bugs are like kind of scared of them. And you're like, what's going on here? And then the big old brain bug comes out and it eats Xander's brain.
Whoa. Yeah, because they're like, why aren't they killing us? And then the big brain bug comes out. And he's got a sippy straw. He's got
I don't think the big brain bug necessarily would have killed Xander immediately. Like, he brings it out of his weird vagina butthole mouth.
Yeah.
But he doesn't, like, immediately go to stab Xander until he's like, you fucking bugs, someone like me is gonna kill all your whole race. We're gonna kill all of you. And I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, I'm wondering, and it's obviously never explored, obviously, but would the bugs have liked to negotiate?
Yes,
you know,
I think so.
Like, because they were hesitating to attack, and even then he was hesitating. Like, maybe the bug would have liked to just talk it out instead of suck it in his brains, but then he's like, fuck you, so he's like, all right, suck. And so it's interesting, but of course never explored, that the bugs may have actually just wanted to be like, hey, we'll leave you alone if you leave us alone. Like, come on, what the fuck?
Yeah, I think if they had a way to communicate, this movie would be very different.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
But then Rico and his squad come in and they save everyone, and they capture the big old brain bug.
Yeah.
And at this point I was like, I'm enjoying this. It's a pretty good action movie, but I'm missing some of the meat, like the media parts of the satire. What's going on here? And then they brought it right back at the end where they bring out the brain bug, and it looks fucking horrified. It's so scared, like to the point where I was feeling bad for the bugs all throughout the movie. I felt so bad for this one at this point, though. I was, like, horrified for it. And Neil Patrick Harris is like, oh my goodness, it's scared. And, like, the music gets sad for a moment, but then everyone starts to cheer.
Yeah. It reminds me, there was a scene halfway through the film where they're like fighting the bugs, and then like one of the bugs gets shot down, and then a soldier goes over to it, and you like see the eyeball of the bug, like staring at him, going like, and then the guy's like, yeah. And it's like, oh, that's a little fucked up. And then he like keeps shooting the dead bug, and I'm like, that's a waste of ammo. But yeah, no, we have the like psychic link that they're doing to the bug, and then they like cut to it being in space and then like drilling into it.
Oh my god, yes, they do all these experiments,
which is very fucked up.
Fucking hell. And then it ends with just a call to action to join the military. The war's never gonna stop ever. There's gonna be all war all the time, forever.
Yes, because our society is based off war, and if the war ever stopped, then our society would crumble. So we have to have a war.
Exactly. But yeah, I think it does kind of lose the point a little bit at points, but it brings it back pretty heavily at the end, I think. It's fascinating to me that you can watch this and not know what it's about. Like, I really want to talk to someone who doesn't understand what this movie's about.
Yeah, or someone who read the books.
Yeah,
it's like, it's interesting.
Yeah, definitely. So that was that. The movie kind of has an ending. Kinda. I don't know. I feel like it doesn't have a character ending. It just has like a mission ending.
Yeah.
Because the characters don't really do a whole lot. But anyway, there's Zach. It's fine that there isn't an ending, because did you know that this spawned a franchise?
I do know. I saw, looking up, there's like 100 of these movies for some reason.
Yeah. The first thing that came out was an animated TV show called Roughnecks, Starship Troopers Chronicles. That is, I think, yeah, it's for kids. It's a kids animated action TV show.
Was it good?
I can't see. I don't know. Doesn't seem to be good. I don't think that it would be. And I also think that it completely it's like the animated RoboCop show. I'm like, why? Why would you make this for kids? That's stupid.
Yeah, not so great.
And then there's 2 directed DVD sequels that I remember seeing in the in like the video rental place when they came out and being like, lol, look at that, as a kid. I think some of the cast actually returned for them though. Which is interesting.
Oh, that's cool.
And then there's 2 like anime movies as well, which is fun.
There's a lot of animated movies.
There are.
I guess that makes sense. It's like easier to do space stuff just animated.
Yeah. And then they're remaking it with the guy who did District 9 is going to remake it. But also he was meant to remake Alien, and he's always been the guy to go to for remaking sci-fis, and they never work out. So who knows if it's going to happen. But that could be fun, I guess. I don't know. I think this movie shouldn't have had any sequels. How about you?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I would like to explore this like society and the like implications behind this sort of thing, but I don't know if that is what is being made, and it's just more like of this. Again, I there's a lot of interesting things that are implied, but I don't think are touched on enough in this movie, which could have been cool to like look at. I think you could get a few more movies out of this, you know.
I don't think that any of the sequels or TV shows or anything, I don't think any of them are satires though. I think they took the wrong lesson.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But here's what I got to tell you, Zach.
What's that?
This movie was not a Starship Troopers, that's for sure.
Whoa!
Yeah, I got to tell you that.
What a banger of a joke. How long did that one take you to cook up?
Oh, so long. So long.
Oh, dear. No, it was good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this film. I thought it was pretty good. It could have been better. There was like something missing. There was a little sauce I was looking for that which wasn't quite there. But I thought this movie was great, and I really enjoyed it.
Did you know that foreign investors are quietly funding lawsuits in American courts through a practice called third-party litigation funding? Shadowy overseas funders are paying to sue American companies in our courts, and they don't pay a dime in U.S. taxes if there is an award or settlement. They profit tax-free from our legal system, while U.S. companies are tied up in court, and American families pay the price, to the tune of $5,000 a year. But there is a solution. A new proposal before Congress would close this loophole and ensure these foreign investors pay taxes, just like the actual plaintiffs have to. It's a common sense move that discourages frivolous and abusive lawsuits and redirects resources back into American jobs, innovation, and growth. Only President Trump and congressional Republicans can deliver this win for America and hold these foreign investors accountable. Contact your lawmakers today and demand they take a stand to end foreign-funded litigation abuse.
Alrighty then, Sandro, it's time for you to sign up for Raving Reviews. This is the part of the show where I find the true patriots of Rotten Tomatoes and grab their excellent opinions to find out what they think about this fascist military propaganda.
Now, I'm not surprised. It's got 72% from the critics and 70% from the audience, which is, that's pretty good.
A lot of people like this film. It was, it was fun. It was good. But a lot of people also were like, hey, this is very different from the books. I don't like it, you know?
Yeah.
I like the books better, you know? So there was an interesting like divide in that way, and I thought that was all right.
Yeah,
I thought that's cool.
Okay,
it's good to have discussions and things. And
I agree.
I think the Rotten Tomatoes audience scores is the best place to have that discussion.
Sure.
All right. So, Sandra, you have to guess the scores.
Yep.
The scores go from 0.5 to 5.
Yep.
I'm going to read them out for you. One of these is mine. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm not ready for yours, but I'm ready for all the others.
Correct. Evan says, Starship Troopers is a great movie that everyone should get around to watching. Well, I love the movie. The director does not understand the book, which was based on. Hey, but at least it makes the movie a bit more of its own thing.
It's because he refused to read it. I think he read one chapter and went, I hate this.
Yeah.
It's very
Which
funny.
Is crazy.
I don't know. If you don't think the director did a good job, it's probably like a middling review. I might go for a 3 or a 3.5. I'm gonna go for a 3.5.
Ooh, it was actually 4.5.
Oh.
It was actually quite
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Like, I thought that was interesting. It's like, yeah, they didn't understand the book, but I still liked the movie, you know?
Yeah, that is very interesting.
We have one by a user with no username that said, this film is total shit, but Casper Van Dien is at peak beautiful in it, so maybe it's kind of watchable?
2.
It was 2 out of 5.
Oh, nice. All right.
You know, Casper Van Dien is at least 2 stars worth of beautiful in a film.
He is 100%.
Absolutely.
He is. He deserves at least a 2.
Yeah. Brian says, is this what it's like to commute to work in Australia?
What? Because of all the bugs?
I think so. I think that's the joke.
What does that review mean?
Is this what it's like to commute to work in Australia?
It's got to be yours, surely. Maybe.
What?
That's 2. That doesn't make any sense. It can't be yours. I don't know. I'm going to give that 4.5. I think it's positive.
It's 4 out of 5. You were really close.
Okay.
You were really close.
Right.
You were on the ball there.
Nice.
Harash says, yeah, nah. I've seen long explanations of how this is meant to be a super clever satirical take on the fascist novel, but it's really just dumb and dull.
Funny. Maybe you're dumb. Probably not dull though.
Ooh,
that's my thoughts on that person. Got him. I don't know. Probably if it's dumb and dull, it's like 1.
Ooh, 1.5.
1.5.
Very close.
Okay.
Yeah. You were close.
All right.
And finally, the last one doesn't have a username, and they say it's a fun satire that feels strangely relevant in 2016.
Oh, 2016. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. This review came out in 2016.
That's
I wonder
crazy.
who was elected president around that time.
I remember. I don't know. I remember.
I have bad news for this reviewer.
Yeah, it gets worse. I'm gonna say that is that might even be a 5 out of 5. I'm gonna say that's a bloody 5 out of 5 review. Surely you put at least 1 in there.
It's a 3.5.
Oh, okay. All right then. Yours is the Australian one, and I want you to explain what it means.
Because it was bugs. It was just bugs, man. What do you mean? It's very simple. There was bugs, and it's like, man, to get to work, you got to kill all these bugs to get to work.
Yeah.
It's not that hard to explain. I mean, I thought that was a pretty simple, easy joke that I made.
It was good. It was.
Look, I'll tell you now. What I do is I come up with the first 2 and discard those ones and go for my third option because it's
good.
Because it's deliberately worse, so it makes less sense. So that so that it blends in with the Rotten Tomatoes scores a bit more.
That is the best way to write comedy. Your first idea, throw it out. Go for the second one.
Yep.
So the fact that you go for a third one makes it even funnier, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we haven't discussed this. Your connection between this and Who Framed Roger Rabbit was racism. I think it holds up. I think it holds up.
Yeah. I was pretty happy with that connection. I think that's it's like not the most obvious, but like as we say, maybe the bugs wanted peace, but they never explored that option. You know?
Anyway, that's the whole episode. Thank you so much for listening to us on your podcast, a place of choice, whether it's Apple Podcasts, which still exists, where you can review us, or Google Podcasts, which I don't think exists anymore, but you can go to YouTube.
Does Apple Podcasts still exist?
I am fairly certain it does.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. I don't use Apple products anymore.
Yeah, me neither.
Because I'm based like that.
We're on Spotify. You can drop us a rating there. Drop a comment on YouTube. Just subscribe and tell your friends about it. Be like, hey, my friend, do you know the point of this movie? And your friend will be like, war good? And you'll be like, no.
You silly, dumb, stupid fucker. Listen to this podcast. They'll explain it to you.
Yeah, that's what you do right there. You can also go to patreon.com/oldiebuddygoodypod where, for free, you get to vote on the movies we're doing. We'll get to that in a second. But Zach,
yeah, that's awesome.
Starting on Wednesday, it's the bloody return of the Cagerama.
The Cagerama.
Oh my goodness, what is the Cagerama, Zach? I've forgotten. It's been a year.
Yeah, that's too long. It's a very hard concept to sort of remember, and so that's very fair. I nearly forgot the premise as well, but it's actually just about watching Nicolas Cage films. Any film that features the glorious Cage Man. We've already done 2 Cageramas already.
No, 3.
Have we done?
You've forgotten.
3 Cageramas already. Look, we've done a lot of them now. Because we love Nicolas Cage. There's a lot of fun movies that he's been in. And so we're bringing it back once again for Cagerama. What movie are we starting with? Do we know yet? Or are we going to leave that one to be revealed?
Well, I wanted to go and try and watch The Surfer, which is the one he filmed in Western Australia. Which I think is out now in Australia, but I don't think that it's out everywhere. So that actually comes out, I think, digitally in July. So we'll be doing that one later.
Cool.
We'll start with National Treasure 2, though.
Ooh, National Treasure 2. That's right, because we did National Treasure 1 to the start of the last Cagerama, I think.
I don't remember. It was at least the last one or the one before that.
To at least one of the Cageramas, we did the first one. So it'd be cool to watch the second one. That's awesome.
The second one. And just ease ourselves into the cage, because you don't want to jump in with a vampire's kiss.
Yeah. You don't want to go into the deep end. You want to go into a nice, family-friendly, middle of the road Cage film where he's not too cagey, and then you get into the real Cage. Then you get into the Mandy's.
The real. I don't remember what he has to steal in this one. But maybe it's I don't know,
a T-Rex skull,
Lincoln's hat or something.
Yeah. We'll look forward to it.
He's got to steal. I don't know. It's something about Abraham Lincoln. Who knows? That'll be fun, though. We'll do that on Wednesday. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see when we dive into it.
And the whole back catalog's up there as well, so you can go check that out. But yeah, Zach, people can vote on, as well, the movies we're doing on the main show, which they have done.
That's true.
They've chosen a winner out of your... Because it's still the month of Zach, so you're making all the choices. It's time for your third one. And they chose... The thing.
So this is interesting this time, because this time I didn't give you any movies.
No.
I gave you only the connections. Which is interesting, because it means right now I have the power. I could just make up whatever movies I want here.
Could.
I don't need to give you any films right now. I could just make up. And this was more tricky going backwards, because normally I've been picking the movies and then making the connections afterwards. Now I'm making the connections and trying to find movies that were connected. And it was weird, because I ended up with 7 different movies and then narrowed it down to 5.
Oh, wow.
But I kind of wish I'd kept some of the other options, but that's fine. Look, I'll need to work on it.
Yeah.
I'll need to work on it.
Well, maybe for your next one, you can do 7 options. Because it's your last one for the next one, so you can do as many as you want.
Yeah. To be fair, people are just voting on it and other stuff. We don't... like the problem with having a lot of movies at the end here with the other thing was we would have to go through all the questions with it and other things.
Yeah.
And it could take forever if we could just put like 100 options.
We could.
You know, that'd be crazy. Maybe that's what I'll do is I'm just going to pick every movie that I've ever wanted to do as an option and just put them all as options and then people could just vote on that.
Oh, that's so silly.
That'd be great.
Hell yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, that'd be good fun.
But yeah, we had 4 connections up on Patreon, and people, once again, another landslide.
Yeah. Now, what was the 4 connections, Sandro?
The 4 connections that you gave me to put on Patreon were aliens, war, funny. I don't know what that means. I don't get it. It's confusing. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
And then also Neil Patrick Harris.
Now, did you notice that I put "This says a lot about society" at the top of that?
Oh, I thought that was you telling me something.
No.
Oh, I missed one.
That was one of the options, Sandro.
Well, that's an admin error.
No, but that's very funny.
That is very funny.
Yeah.
I thought you meant that all of the options said a lot about society.
No. "This says a lot about society" was one of the options, and you didn't put it up there, but I was like, that's fine. It leaves 4. That's perfect. So I did have 5 options here.
Oh, wow.
But you only have 4 things.
Only the 4 to
So I'm
choose.
going to give you 5 movies, Sandro.
Oh, wow, okay.
And you have to guess which 4 go on them.
All right.
Because there is, yes, a bonus movie here that is not one of the options. And so you have to guess which one is not one of the options.
And the connection to that is it says a lot about society.
It says a lot about
Right,
society.
okay,
Yeah. All right. So, your films that you have not heard
Yeah, I've got no idea what these are.
till I am telling you right now. So, you have The Purple People Eater. Which is a 1980s film about an alien. There's the Purple People Eater.
So,
it's like a kids
I
film.
can't look
sort
this
of
up
thing.
because I'll be able to see
You
what
can't
things
look it
are.
up, but it's got this big like purple alien sort of thing.
Yep, sure.
Yeah,
that sounds great.
Yeah.
I hope that was picked. That's hilarious.
Well, we had The War of the Worlds,
Which one?
the original 1958.
Oh, not the Tom Cruise one.
Yeah,
All right. Okay. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, The War of the Worlds. Yeah. I thought that one was pretty good. We had The Lord of the Rings.
The animated one. Yeah.
The original animated one, yes, that we haven't done yet that I would really like to do.
I agree.
We had Galaxy Quest.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, Galaxy Quest was a good one.
I was hoping that you would put that in. I had a feeling. I was like, maybe Galaxy Quest will be in this one.
And the last one, and you'll be disappointed because I didn't put the third in the Starship Troopers line of films. There was no Total Recall because instead I put Cats and Dogs: The Revenge of Kitty Galore.
What the fuck? Why did you do that?
Because of one of the connections, Sandro.
Oh, okay.
So those are your 5 options.
Oh, God. And I knew one of these was bad, and now I'm fairly certain it's Cats and Dogs too.
That's it, right?
Okay, so... now this is very interesting. So...
Yes.
I feel like Galaxy Quest is the one that's funny. So I'm just going to put that in there. The connection of funny is Galaxy Quest. Now, because I pushed back on that connection when you sent it to me on Messenger, I was like, what do you mean
absolutely.
the connection is funny? Do you mean comedy?
Because it's also funny that I picked the film as an option, Sandra.
Oh.
And also, some of these are not comedy films, but there's funny stuff in them, and it is funny.
That's true.
Yeah, it's funny that they exist, you know?
Well, that means that Galaxy Quest could be aliens. It probably isn't the society one. I'm gonna stick with funny for Galaxy Quest.
Okay, yep. It also, and another thing for funny is it doesn't rule out comedy as a connection for later on.
Exactly.
As well.
Because we'll
So
have
we can
more
use
broad
comedy
options later as well.
Yeah. So I thought it was more broad. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, I agree. Aliens is Purple People Eater. I think. I'm going to say this says a lot about society as War of the Worlds. I don't know how.
Ooh. Wow.
But
okay,
I think
yeah,
you're
yeah,
doing
that's
that.
fair.
I think you're doing that. I don't know what Neil Patrick Harris is in. I don't know what other movies he's
Yeah.
in.
Would you like to know which movies he is in?
Yes, what movies are he in?
That's too bad because we know that Neil Patrick Harris is the option that people picked, right?
Nah, that's true. That is the winner.
And if they didn't pick that one, I would have told you. But I can tell you he's in definitely more than one film that is an option here.
Oh.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
interesting. Yeah. Okay. Wait, so that means that he's a connection for two of them, which means you could just swap out what you want.
That's true. Absolutely. Absolutely. I could. I will tell you, for each of these, and I've done this for every round that we've done, everyone has two options, at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think War is Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Because that's obviously the War of the Rings.
Yeah.
I don't know what Neil Patrick Harris is.
It's not War of the Worlds.
Maybe funny is Cats and Dogs, because it is very funny that you picked that.
It's pretty funny.
And then,
it's pretty funny.
Maybe Neil Patrick Harris is in Galaxy Quest. He might be. I wouldn't rule it out that he has a cameo in Galaxy Quest. I wouldn't put that past him. He was in a lot of like he had a lot of small roles in things. So
absolutely, you're very correct.
I'm gonna lock that in.
Okay.
So Society, War of the Worlds, Purple People Eater is Aliens, Lord of the Rings is War, Cats and Dogs is funny, and then Neil Patrick Harris is in Galaxy Quest.
Yeah, this is Sandro's hope and plea that we picked Galaxy Quest.
It's also that. I also really want Galaxy Quest to be the winner.
But I have some bad news for Sandro.
No.
All right. Starting with, let's say Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
You got that one correct.
Okay.
That one was War.
That was War. Yep.
Obviously, War of the Worlds was a red herring in that aspect, because it had war in the name. And you got War of the World correct. It does say a lot about society. And it says a lot about society because of the radio broadcast that happened with War of the Worlds, which caused widespread panic in society.
Yeah,
you know?
Society. A lot of things about it are in there.
Yeah. Exactly. So I thought that was a fun little one.
Yep.
Also, you may have noticed all of my connections were also related to the previous movie we've done, for obvious reasons, I think.
Yeah. They're all
a lot about
connected
society,
to Starship
aliens,
Troopers.
war, funny. Yeah, right, yeah. Purple People Eater had Neil Patrick Harris.
Oh!
In that film, yes. And it's a kids'
is that what
film.
we're doing
It's other things.
then?
No, because that one was, in fact, Aliens. You got that one correct.
Oh.
But I have bad news for you, Sandro, because you were right the first time. Galaxy Quest is funny.
Oh, no!
It is very funny.
Don't tell me this.
And I could have swapped the options. We could have done Purple People Eater, but I needed to go with the film that I picked for it because Cats and Dogs, Revenge of Kitty Galore, features in it Neil Patrick Harris, and the connection was Neil Patrick Harris.
Oh, fuck.
So next week, we are doing Cats and Dogs, Revenge of Kitty Galore.
I didn't even like
which is
the
definitely
first Cats
the
and
worst.
Dogs.
Which is absolutely the worst option here of all of them, by far.
I remember when this movie came out. I was like, kind of liked Cats and Dogs as a kid, but when the second one came out, I was like, nah, fuck that. Absolutely not.
No. I can tell you, I have seen this film before.
Okay.
It's not good.
No, it doesn't look good at all.
It's not. It's bad. It is, it's not good.
Oh, boy. Well.
I cannot wait. Yeah, this is definitely, I was trying to pick all good options, because I'm trying to get some of these bangers out of the way that I want to do. I want to do Lord of the Rings. I want to do War of the Worlds. I want to do Galaxy Quest. Purple People Eater would have been funny, and I could have swapped those.
This movie, Purple People Eater looks so good. This looks so funny.
Yeah. But no, I knew, in my heart of hearts, I couldn't put Neil Patrick Harris as the I could have swapped them. Like, that's the thing. Like, behind the scenes, I could have swapped these out, but I'm like, no, this is the option I picked. Because I literally looked up Neil Patrick Harris, and it was like, wait, he was in Cats and Dogs? That's very funny. I'm going to put that as an option. And then you message, it's like, wow, Neil Patrick Harris won with a landslide. And like, I literally replied, uh-oh. And then I was like, oh, I can't say any more, otherwise he's going to know.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
Well, thank you, patrons, for picking Cats and Dogs too.
Revenge of Kitty galore.
I'm gonna go back and listen to our review of the first one because I'm not rewatching it. It's been like 3 years. I don't think I'm gonna rewatch it.
You did not like it.
No.
I think you rated it an oldie, and I was like, what? No! I love this film. I was definitely clouded by nostalgia. For this one, I think we're both not going to be clouded by nostalgia, that's for sure.
God, we had 3 good movies, and now we have to pay.
Yeah, that's it. Don't worry. Next week, I think what I'm going to do is just pick all the good movies that I want to do and just put them as options.
As long as you can find connections for them, I see nothing wrong with that.
I will lie through my teeth. These are all going to be big stretches, I'm pretty sure.
Well, there we go. How about that? And on Patreon, will people be voting for the movies or the gimmies or the connections? What do you want people to vote for?
I think I'll try and do the connections again.
Okay.
Which might take me some time, but I'll make sure each one has their own connection. But this time I won't make it so it's like each one has 2 different ones. I think this one's just going to be like, because that's what I've tried to do to make this section a bit trickier for you, is like War of the Worlds, obviously war, there's aliens, like...
Yeah.
You know, there was a lot going on there. Galaxy Quests, there were aliens, it was funny, you know. I tried to make sure there was at least 2 that it applied to, you know. Next one, it was just I'm just going to bang out some connections and you're just going to have to guess them.
Hell yeah. All right, well, we'll do that next week. Look forward to that, I guess. I'm in denial the way watching that this is what we're doing.
I'm so sorry that I've inflicted on you, but at the same time, this is what you get for rating Cats and Dogs and Oldie.
I gotta watch another one.
Dogs and Oldie.
Have to watch another one.
That's it.
All right. Well, see you then. But here's the thing. Are you still doing your part though?
Oh, Sandro. I'm doing my part, and let me tell you something. I'm from Buenos Aires, and I say kill 'em all!